Welcome back to the North Bench Warmers podcast. I'm your host, Colton Smith, here joined by producer Josh Northcutt, co-host Alex Perez, and director Garrett Jordan. Fellas, we are back for another episode of the pod. We're doing things a little differently. We're going to start with basketball here, but first of all, how was your guys' week?
It was all right. I got to do a little practice baseball call, doing my first play-by-play, which turned out a little bit interesting. I've heard some good reviews, some bad reviews, so kind of interested to see how that goes the rest of the year.
Mine's been good, just trying to prepare for graduation, get these final projects out of the way so I can at least enjoy my last couple weeks, but they're taking a lot of time.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how is it going, kids? And the old school.
I mean, it's going. I've got 200-point papers that I haven't started yet.
I was going to say, your tone gives, I have not been to class in 2 weeks.
For sure going.
I'm going to say it's going. It's going. I was not at class yesterday. I was not feeling well. So, what about you, Garrett? How's everything going over there, even though you got, another semester left?
Yeah, I still got one more semester left, but it's no big deal. Getting through the dog days of the semester here. I got a bunch of writing classes this semester, so I just finally finished up all my peer workshops for that. So now I actually have a little bit of free time to, finish some of my other work in that class. So, or those classes. So yeah, it's just been very, very homework filled. Watching baseball when I can, though.
Yeah, can't relate. Let's go ahead and get into
it.
I can relate to baseball. I cannot relate to that of, what did you call it? Homework. So
I hate him sometimes.
Getting into, I'm not coming back. Getting into basketball, though, the WNBA draft was the other night. Alex, you have some winners or losers. I'll go ahead and say America, because we did not get Haley Van Lith on the Sparks. I was very excited for that draft team, but she'll be a good fit with this guy, maybe.
For sure. I think only one team drafted bad, but we'll start with the winners. The Mystics, for sure. They got Sonia Citron, Kiki Ariafin, and Georgia Amore. So they got the best guard after Paige and Olivia Miles, who decided to go back to college. Don't know why. And then they got the best collegiate post player in Kiki Ariafin, and then the best all-around pure point guard in Amore. They're set up for a long, long time. And then the Dallas Wings, of course, surprise. They got Paige Becker, so they're doing all right. You can stop there. But then they also got J.J. Quinterly, who might be the steal of the draft. Not drafted till the third round, I think it was, and averaged 20 points a game in college. So don't know how she really fell that far, but the Dallas Wings are very happy about that. And then the losers. The Golden State Valkyries, what are we doing? In your first year, you don't go for the surefire franchise cornerstone. You go with an uncertain fit of Yusta Yoshida. Georgia Amore and Anissa Morrow were both there, and they instead went with the 19-year-old, which is uncommon for women's basketball because they usually play the 4 years. So somebody that young and inexperienced is usually not a good thing in women's basketball. So they did kind of fix their issues because they got Cheyenne Sellers, who just fell into their lap. That's embarrassing by the WNBA. And then Caitlin Chin, who was more of like a fan favorite, kind of like Kate Martin was last year. So they kind of made it look okay, but that first pick, for your first ever overall pick, bad.
See, the season starts in about a month from now, so obviously I know you probably plan on going out to a Fevers game or two.
For sure, yeah.
If I had a gun to your head to make you pick right now, maybe like a sleeper team outside, obviously, the two favorites, was I'm assuming are the Liberty and the Aces again.
Yeah.
Who could be a sleeper team that you could see possibly causing some tension in there and maybe stealing a championship spot?
I really think it could be the Fever this year. They had a massive overhaul. They got DeWanna Bonner. They got Caitlin Clark, obviously, re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. Got Lexi Hull already coming off the bench. Then got Sophie Cunningham, an elite shooter that will also be in the starting lineup probably now. And a bunch of other pieces, a new coach and Stephanie White, who hopefully makes better lineup decisions than the last coach. But I think if all those pieces and the chemistry gets together, because obviously WNBA season is shorter, so that chemistry has to click a lot faster. But seeing that it does, I think they're in good position to be championship contenders this year.
Fair enough. I know that got to make the WNBA happy because
For
that
sure,
a lot
yeah.
of viewers tend to turn into the fever.
Yeah, for sure. Was there another expansion team that's been announced, or is there still just a bunch of rumors?
No, there's definitely another one, but they're not coming until next year, and I can't remember for the life of me what city it is. But yeah, there is another one coming next
looks
season.
like Josh is looking it up.
There's
but-
definitely another one coming next season.
Yeah, I'm
Portland
excited.
and Toronto are coming in 2026,
Okay.
according to AI Google.
What are the names? Do we know yet?
Toronto Tempo is what
Tempo.
it says as of right now, which will be the first WNBA franchise outside the United States.
Nice.
And nothing on Portland.
Timbers. That's already taken. As we learned this week, I'm not very good at naming. So let's go ahead and get into the NBA playoffs, though. We have a lot to get to. So I saw Alex turn a page in his notebook. We got
Got a
a
whole
lot.
page for it.
So we'll start in the East because I feel like that's kind of the easier one to get through first. So let's start at that 1-8 game, Cavs.
Yeah, I'll be impressed if any of these 4 games are close. It's going to be a Cavs sweep. It doesn't matter who wins the game tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. At first, I thought they were playing the Magic, and I realized they're the 7th seed.
Yeah.
Magic maybe would have put up a better fight. So
I'm just going to throw it out there right now. The Heat in the playoff times can give the Cavs problems because it's the Heat, and the Heat culture is real. Okay, now that my D-Wade fan
I don't even think Jimmy believed it was real. I think it's
No,
come
he
out.
did for a while, and then he realized Pat Riley is a dictator in the world of
That's a nice
Not
word.
yet.
That's a smooth add-on to the end of that word. All right. Enough about the Cavs. Celtics and the Magic. The Magic pride themselves on stopping the three-point. The Celtics are the best three-point shooting team. I think it could be a 5-game series, but give me Boston.
That is my complete thinking. They may push it to 5, and I think all 5 will be competitive.
Agreed.
But the Magic just didn't do enough this offseason to fix their scoring problems that they had in the last playoffs. They signed KCP, and I thought that would help a lot. It has not really.
we talked about it in the TWSN chat, and when you were calling out another team that we're going to talk about in a little bit, you mentioned that you need a top 10 player in the NBA, and as of right now, Paulo Banchero is not there yet.
Right.
He could be a borderline here in about a year or two, but he's not there yet, and last time I checked, the Celtics probably have 2 of them, maybe even 3 of them when it comes to the playoffs, because Derek White is a very sneaky player. But that being said, yeah, I see Celtics and probably a sweep personally.
Okay.
All right. I was going to add that Orlando also took the season series 2-1. So we'll see. Playoff basketball is a little different.
Yeah.
Knicks, they're facing off against the Detroit Pistons. 3-6 game?
Yes.
Yes. And I like everything is telling me to go with the Knicks pretty easily just because this is Detroit's first rodeo. And that's really it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to stick with that. I also think that Cade or Tom Thibodeau will probably have a pretty good scheme to slow Cade down. But there also is just this weird knack that, like, this Knicks team has been they lost, I believe, every single game if I did not write it down. But they lost to this team quite a few times throughout the season. I'm going to stick with the Knicks. I'm going to stick with my gut. I was really high on this team. I'm not near as high now, but I still am high enough to keep them into the second round.
Yeah, me as well. Tom Thibodeau and his overloading minutes won't affect them in this first round, I don't think. I have the Knicks in 5. I was going through power rankings of like the teams, and then I was sad to see how far Detroit was down on my list because I feel like the Knicks are better at pretty much every position, maybe point guard not, but that's about the only one that you're not going to be better at. So I think the Knicks win this one pretty easily, and the Pistons do employ Tobias Harris, so that hate's still there.
For me, I think it's Knicks honestly pretty easy. it's kind of what you said. Experience, I do think, will play a role. This is something where the Pistons will get there. They'll probably get a game at home because that Detroit crowd will motivate them to a victory. But now with Jalen Brunson healthy, as far as I just saw for sure, the Knicks handle this pretty easily, and I'll say in 5 as well.
Okay. I do wonder if he'll be a little, sluggish to start. But yeah, I'll stick with the Knicks there. I don't know. Something tells me there's going to be an implosion, maybe in the second round. And then we come to the Pacers and the Bucks. My favorite team versus my favorite player of all time. This is the best Pacers team I have witnessed since Victor Oladipo, and I would argue better than that team, but that team pushed LeBron to 7 games. However, this is far too much of a layup for the sports gods to not take the chance of Damian Lillard taking me out of my favorite team out of the playoffs in a year where they kind of have a path to the finals. They've been the 4th best team in the NBA since 2025. So this has been a really great second half of the year that's really gotten me hyped. I have them falling in a 7-game series, and if that doesn't happen, they'll lose to the Lakers in the finals, as Josh predicted. And that's the other reason as to why I don't have them winning, is because I know it's going to be painful, because that man right there, on record, had them in the finals.
Well, thanks for spoiling my.
I was hoping you had
entire
I
thing.
realized afterwards, but I'm still pissed off at you for it.
It's
So I don't
okay.
care.
I got a different one for this one anyway.
Oh, good.
That was just to put it in the universe so I can jinx both of you. But that being said, I think the Pacers honestly will handle this pretty easily. I know that's a very ballsy thing to say, but I am very high on this Pacers team. Watching them in the second half, they seem to be clicking a little bit. Halliburton is going to be Halliburton a little bit later on, but we'll talk about that. But I do see the Pacers winning this in 6.
I have the Pacers also winning in 6. I'm not as high on this Pacers team, but I feel there's a lot of uncertainty with Dame and his injury, I guess we'll call it, and he hasn't been able to play or do any type of basketball activities during his healing process. So that's going to mean he's probably going to be pretty rusty. And the Bucks also do employ Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham, 2 of the best playoff coaches of all time, as we both know. So I like this Pacers team to win this series.
Yeah, when I hear Josh has confidence in an NBA team, that's when I know we're screwed. I mean, just look at the Timberwolves. Yeah. Anything else you guys have to say about it? Because
I find it quite interesting, though it's pretty obvious that these have been the 4 best teams in the East all year, and we all 4 agree that they'll move on.
Yeah. So, ready to move on to the West?
Sure. Yeah.
Oklahoma City Thunder. Saving time here.
If it's the Mavs, Oklahoma in 4, maybe 3. If it's the Grizzlies, I truly do think it goes 7, because I think they're really kind of close match, honestly. But
Okay.
I do think the Thunder have the better players, and that's what wins in the playoffs.
Okay.
So I would have the Thunder in 7, but I think it's a very great series if Memphis wins.
Certainly, Josh.
I'm hoping
wouldn't
Memphis wins.
doubt the Thunder again, right? We wouldn't do this all over again a year after saying he would gain respect for the Thunder and what they have done. They're the 1 seed. They're arguably the best team when it comes to a power rankings type situation in the playoffs. Certainly, Josh wouldn't say that the Grizzlies and Ja Morant and Zach Edey and Triple J would be able to beat the Thunder. Oh, but yes, he will. Give me the Grizzlies to upset the Thunder in the playoffs.
In how many games?
7.
I like it.
Ja time.
I mean, to be fair, Triple J could give them problems because we all know they have size problems. I don't think Edie's giving them that many problems with Chet, but Triple J could give them a lot of problems.
Why must you touch everything I love?
This is so much fun. Just put it in the universe. It's so much fun. I love it.
Warriors. Steph Curry, Warriors are going up against the, I have that backwards. Houston Rockets. I guess I just gave away. I got the Warriors beating the Houston Rockets. I have them winning it in 6 games. I think you can always point to, yes, the Rockets are the more inexperienced team. Mine more goes to Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler in the playoffs are probably two of the top 5 players in the NBA. I mean, maybe Jimmy's top 10. I don't know. But having both of those guys on a team in the playoffs, they'll be the 2 best players on the floor. I absolutely think the Warriors will win this. And I was really high on this Rockets team. I think they're well coached. I think there's still a lot they need to figure out, and I think this series loss will be a stepping stone in their development. We'll figure out, is Jalen Green that guy? Is Alperen Şengün that guy? And that's really where the advantage is going to come, is down low. If the Rockets win this series, which I still absolutely think they can, this is just my take, it's going to take rebounds and offensive rebounds that go back in, get more opportunities to go up against the three-point shooting and just bucket getting of the Warriors. So it's going to be an even series. It's going to be a fun series. I'm just not going to bet against Steph Curry. I don't have many years left to do that. So I think I'll just stay on this side of the field and take the Warriors to win this series.
I think I would go the same way. I got the Warriors in 6. Experience is a big factor in the playoffs, and like you said, Steph and Jimmy have a whole lot of it and have a whole lot of successful experience as well. This Rockets team, I think inexperience will play a big part in it because a lot of them haven't really been here. Dylan Brooks and Draymond will be interesting to watch, to say the least, and I think that will cause some problems.
Someone who gets teed up.
Yeah. And I think that will cause a lot of problems to the Rockets. They'll allow the Warriors to get under their skin more than the other way around. And I think that will help the Warriors a whole lot in the series.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very similar to like what we said about the Knicks and Pistons. But the fact that the Warriors have, again, potentially 2 of the top 5 playoff players in this field. So give me the Warriors in 5.
Okay. Must be because I wanted the Warriors to win for the potential next matchup. I was kind of expecting you to pick the Rockets because I like the Rockets team.
No. I mean, I'll give you credit, man. This was one of the team you were absolutely high on, and you predicted them perfectly. But I think the Rockets this year is similar to what the Thunder were last year, and experience and will catch up to them. But it does sound like help will potentially be coming. There is mutual interest between KD and the Rockets of teaming him up in Houston next year.
What a fossil. Los Angeles Lakers going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
What a fossil.
I just got an image of KD in my head, and that's what I see. This is a tough one to gauge for me because I feel like that is a matchup. Would you agree? I would, maybe not nightmare, but that's definitely a problem. Mm-hmm. The size that the Timberwolves bring and their ability down low, that is a weakness of this Lakers team with still Jackson Hayes as your starting center, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, didn't know if Alex Lynn actually showed up.
No, he did not.
He did.
For one game, they were like, we got to get him out of here.
Hey, that's proud of Cincinnati Moeller High School. Thank you very much, Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, I love Jackson Hayes. I've been at an AAU tournament with him before. Great guy. I was making fun of Alex Lynn. Okay. Anyways, but here's the interesting part of it is Julius Randle could be an absolute problem. However, he statistically is the worst playoff performer amongst all NBA candidates or people that have been an all NBA player before. He has the worst stats. So is he just going to be the regular Julius? He's been very candid, been very open to, yeah, I'm aware I don't have the best playoff stats. So maybe it's a point of emphasis for him. I don't know. We'll find out this playoff. So I think he's the X factor for the Timberwolves, just as I pretty much said he's the reason they're not going to be as good this year, and they weren't. So there was also a lot of role player issues. I just don't like the vibes in Minnesota. I think it's going to take...
The vibes are back, people. The vibes are back.
Julius Randle getting buckets and Anthony Edwards playing like Michael Jordan for him to beat this Lakers team. I just don't see that happening. I do think it's a 7-game series because I do see a world, but I still have the Lakers.
I'll go first because I know these are your team, or it is your team, and we
Yeah,
know where you're going. We know where you're going. For me, as you mentioned, I was very high on the Timberwolves in the beginning of the year. I still think this is potentially the actual NBA, the Western Conference Finals.
Oh, okay.
I think the team coming out of this matchup has a very, very good chance to win the whole thing. That being said, I'm going to take the 2 best players when I know I mentioned Curry and Butler possibly being the best duo. No, the best duo is Luka and LeBron. LeBron is not going home in the first round. So as much as I love Ant and as much as I want to believe in the Timberwolves, not only do I think the Lakers win, I think the Lakers win in a sweep.
Wow.
kinda
You
bold.
are higher on them than I am.
Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, but I do have the Lakers winning. I have the Lakers winning in 6. Let me preface my comments by saying I think whoever's in front of Anthony Edwards gets lit on fire in this series. But everywhere else, I think the Lakers have the advantage. Jackson Hayes is obviously the weak point in the lineup, but I don't think he's going to get exposed that much because it's Rudy Gobert. And, like, they're not looking for him to score that much in the paint, so his defense is really not that needed. Mike Conley, the fossil that he is going to have to guard Luka or Austin Reeves. That's not going to be fun. And then Julius Randle has to guard LeBron probably. Doesn't sound too fun for him.
Either him or Luca.
Yeah, and then that leaves Jaden Daniels, or what's his name? Jaden Daniels? McDaniels, there we go.
He actually, I could see him guarding Luca or LeBron.
I think he's going to be on LeBron.
That's fair.
Probably whoever's giving you the most heartache.
But then he would have to guard Rui on the perimeter, and don't think that would be fun for him either. And I think LeBron could give McDaniels problems. So I think they're just better all around at every position besides whoever is in front of Anthony Edwards, because that's going to be ugly, and that's why this goes 6 games probably, because he has a couple of hot games. But I like the Lakers all around better in the series.
Is there any shred of worry about J.J. Redick being a first-time head coach going through these playoffs? I could have waited, I guess, a little later to ask this, but just popped in my head.
Didn't really think about it, but just how he's shown poise in the regular season, I don't think I'm that concerned about it. It may end up happening in the playoffs, but his lineups, I think the only thing that would concern me with that is like lineups.
Mm-hmm.
And his rotations and stuff have never been something I've been concerned about yet this season.
Yeah.
So I still like what he's doing, and I don't really think that'll be a problem.
With your dislike of Rudy Gobert, though, do you think karma comes back and gets you and he gives it to you instead?
No, I think he gets matched up on Luka many, many times, and Luka again sets that man on fire.
Luka would make him look silly.
He has
He already
before,
has.
and he's going to do it again, and I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Just look at the semifinal series from last year is all I say.
I'll go
Or that
back.
was the conference finals. I always forget that was the conference finals.
I'll go back and give that a look-see.
Give it a look-see. There's
It's
a pretty
good stuff.
iconic moment. So last first-round matchup here between the Clippers and the Nuggets. Which one's the 4 and 5?
The Clippers are the 4. Nope, Nuggets are the 4.
Yeah, Nuggets are 4.
Nuggets are the 4. Oh, I thought the Clippers were a 4.
Both finished at 50 and 32, too. So I don't know what the tiebreaker was, but
That being said, I have fallen in love with this Clippers team, as me and Alex discussed before this show. And I'm just going to say it right now. If Kawhi and Harden can get, they don't have to be pure prime, but if they can get close to prime, if we get Raptors Kawhi, a little bit of Houston,
Rockets Harden.
Norman Powell's been great. Chris Dunn is an absolute stopper. This defense is scary, and just the way they operate. I think they can beat anybody in the league. I'll just say that. But then at the same time, I think they could lose to anybody in the league. So they could easily just lose in this first round, and I'm an idiot, or I'm a genius, and they make it to the finals. I don't have them in the finals. Spoiler alert. But it could happen. I do have them winning this series, though. Clippers in 6. At home in the Intuit Dome, where the least amount of free throws are made by the opposing team.
I'm just going to stick with the same theory that I always do. The best player on the planet plays for the Nuggets. I'm taking Joker in the Nuggets.
Yeah, there's no outside turmoil that could ever affect that going on in Denver.
Yeah, no, none whatsoever.
But I have the Clippers, and I have them in 6. I think the only advantage...
You okay over there?
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you brought that up, because let me say, boy, was I wrong about the Clippers. I did not have them in the playoffs at all, not even close, really, and
None of us
they
did.
have shocked me. Kawhi has been playing great since he got back from injury. James Harden quietly having like an all-star type year. But, yeah, I think they'll have 2 of the best players on the floor. Obviously, Jokic will be the best player on the floor, but Zubac is very good. And I feel like he will at least contain Jokic as much as he can, and uncertainty with Jamal Murray and his injury. So there's really not much else that they have offering Russell Westbrook, I guess. We know how that's turned out before. So I really like this Clippers team and the role players they have around Kawhi and James Harden, and as well as the big man that I mentioned. So I think the Clippers win this. It'll be competitive, but I think 6 is pretty good.
What did you say?
Oh, I got the Nuggets in 6.
Nuggets in 6. Okay. All right. That brings us to round number 2. For myself, I have the Cavs and the Bucks at the top of the East. The Bucks have terrible playoff health luck. Generally just playoff luck since they've sold their soul for a championship. They also are coached, like you said, by Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham. This is where I see that coming into play. Also, the Cavs swept this season series 4-0. All the signs point to Cleveland here. However, I could see another 3-2 choke, but I'll go ahead and say good old 5 games for the Cavs.
I've got the Cavs and Pacers, and certainly I wouldn't pick the Pacers to go to the Eastern Conference Final, would I? Oh, of course I will. I'm going to take the Pacers. I just don't buy into Cleveland. It's the same thing that I say about the Thunder. I don't know what it is. I literally can't tell you. It's probably because it's Cleveland. But I do think the Pacers, Halliburton, Siakam, have that mindset of we got to the finals last year, we're going back this year, and the road is open for them to do it. So go ahead and give me the Pacers.
I'm curious, how many Cavs games did you watch this year?
0, not a none, and it doesn't matter. Screw Cleveland and everything that comes in that city.
I
So there's the answer came out.
There's only one good thing about Cleveland, and it's the Kelsey brothers.
I forgot my whole train of thought. Anyways,
Plus, for the sake of LeBron being the GOAT, in my mind, they cannot win a championship without LeBron.
that's fair. But for the Cavs, I think they will have options to throw at Miles Turner, which is the biggest thing, because I think he could be the biggest X factor in this. I got Cavs Pacers. There we go. And I think he could be the biggest X factor in this series, but because they have so many options to throw at him, I think that the Cavs will win. I think it'll be in 5 games because I just think they have too much talent all around the floor, and especially coming off the bench. Give me the Cavs in 5.
Look, my favorite thing in sports is literally now watching Colton become a believer as the rounds go on. So I need a deep Pacers run because I need that lunatic, crazy Pacers comment where it comes, we're going to win the championship. And then that clearly doesn't happen.
Obviously.
I need Colton to become a believer again.
I wanted to point out that I was never really much of a believer last time. Last year
I'm going to
around?
go back and find that clip. Oh, absolutely. When you got to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes.
You were a believer, Colton.
I did. I was a believer. Yep, we'll put that right in there. You go find that for me. One stat or 2 stats I wanted to bring up about Tyrese Halliburton is 1, when he misses his first shot of the game, he takes an average of 5.5 less attempts. He cannot do that in the playoffs. We cannot have that average. If you miss your first shot, you take the next shot. If that doesn't happen, you're not getting out of the first round. And there was another one that has slipped my mind, so we'll just continue on. So we all got ours. You got Pacers, you got Bucks in 5, and I had Cavs.
Cavs in 5,
I was staring at All right, so Celtics and Knicks. Celtics in 5. Celtics are a good team. Knicks lose to good teams. Celtics win.
That is literally my best explanation. The Knicks, versus the top 3 teams
in
the NBA?
0 and a lot.
11, 0 and 12 this year. And now it's playoff time, so you get another ramped up Celtics team. I was high on the Knicks. I picked them to go to the NBA Finals at the beginning of the year. That is not now. The Celtics win this series. I'll say in 7.
Yeah, the Celtics are... The Knicks calling card is defense. The Celtics are actually good at defense. So I think that'll be the difference here. Give me the Celtics in 6 because I think the Knicks' offensive talent will get them a couple games. But I think this is where those Tom Thibodeau minutes come into play, and there's a couple injuries probably in this series.
You mentioned the Tom Thibodeau minutes. Brunson's obviously been hurt for a little bit. Do you think that favors him at all that he wasn't on the court, or do you think it just Russ plays into it and eventually that catches up to him versus a team like the Celtics?
I think you got to think about re-injury, honestly, more than anything. especially if you make it to this round and go against the Celtics when you got Drew Holiday or Derek White always guarding you. That's tough.
Yeah. No, not talking me out of that one. Do you think there's a world Tom Thibodeau gets fired at the end of after this year?
Yes.
Because I think he should.
I think only if they lose the first round.
I think if they don't get to the finals, he's gone. I think this is the Knicks built this team to get to the Eastern Conference Finals at minimum. So if they were to lose to the Celtics, he's out the door.
There's a lot of money in this team.
We'll see what happens from
Mike
there.
Malone.
Yep, that would be good. They
Broke
should
his
fire him.
brain.
They should
I
fire
also
Thibodeau.
like a blockbuster type deal for the Knicks if they could go all in on it, but that'll be for another topic for when their season's over, because I know we enjoy talking those times.
Of course. Moving on to the West. Oklahoma City Thunder, Los Angeles Clippers. I said what I said earlier, but this Thunder team is a juggernaut. I don't see them falling to this Clippers team. I think the Clippers will be a tough matchup. I think it will go to 7 games, honestly. That's what that was kind of on the fly decision. I have 6 or 7 on here. I'm going with 7 because I think they'll take that 6th game and into a dome. Thunder over the Clippers in 7 for me.
I've got the Grizzlies and Nuggets because I'm not a believer in
You're
the
a
Thunder, and I
weirdo.
continue to
Absolutely.
be a. I
Still,
know,
I've
I
watched
get it. I get it.
0 Thunder games.
No, I don't. I don't like watching boring basketball, so it's fun. Anyway, so back to the Grizzlies and Nuggets, as I predict is going to happen. Last time I checked, Joker's still the best player on the planet, and he'll be able to get them to the Western Conference Finals. I don't care about the off-court possible issues. Jamal Murray being beat up, yes, plays a little bit of effect in it. However, the difference will be the best player on the planet, and Nikola Jokic. Yeah, words are hard.
I have the Clippers and the Thunder, and this is the reason why I said I hated my bracket, Colton, because I have the Clippers winning in 6.
No way.
I think Zubac makes that big of a difference down low that
I would agree.
those problems get exposed once more, and I feel like they kind of cancel each other out, like Shea and Harden or Shea and Kawhi can kind of cancel each other out. And who's guarding Kawhi? Because that'll be rough.
Lou Dort.
I was about to say they're going to throw Lou Dort at probably Harden. So
Yeah.
good luck whoever's guarding Kawhi, because I know it's not going to be Shea. So I think they just have more pieces and they're ready for this moment.
I am fully now regretting my Nuggets pick and wanting to go full Clippers on this mode, because if you're getting them there, that means they're real.
I hate my bracket so much.
Let me put
I
it
hate
this way. The only reason I don't have the Clippers winning that series against the Thunder is because I don't know if I trust Kawhi and Harden to make it that far in the playoffs.
That is very fair.
Harden
fair.
hamstring will happen at some point. When
Oh,
will
yeah.
it happen? So I know you don't hope you're right, but I do hope you're right, because
It's for sure coming back to bite me.
I'm rooting for the Intuit Dome Finals in its first season, right? First season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like a decade ago when the season started as I hit my mic. But last of this round, the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors, the series that I didn't mention last time, the NBA won, so obviously it's going to happen, and it's because it will be an outstanding series. Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Draymond Green versus LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves, who I think will be the difference maker in this series. If he can be a bucket getter, if he can be that third guy that the Warriors don't really have, to my knowledge, I think that can be the difference maker, and that is why I have the Lakers winning this classic 7-game series. If you really ask me, it's a 6-game series, but I want it to be a 7-game series, so I'm going to put it in the world. And, give me the Lakers moving on to the conference finals.
Lakers, Warriors, it's exactly like you mentioned. The NBA wants it. The fans want it. It will be an all-time classic. It will go 7. And no way LeBron James loses Game 7 in the Staples Center, as I'm going to call it, because I'm old school. And
As
I'm
it
old.
should be called, yeah.
Correct. And I'm old.
I will always call it Staples Center.
Correct. So give me the Lakers and LeBron to have an all-time classic going back and forth with Curry.
I mean, if LeBron doesn't lose it, Luka's not going to lose it. Like, that's the beauty of it. You got 2 guys that just aren't going to lose a Game 7.
Yeah, when there's no KD on the floor, LeBron's head-to-head against Steph Curry pretty good. So I do like the Lakers here in 6. Colton, you kind of took my explanation. I think Austin Reeves is the best third option in the league. So I think he will be definitely the X factor here. I can't think of anybody they really have to guard him, so that'll be rough for them. And I do think this is where Jackson Hayes does get exposed because Quentin Post, while not very known in the league, is a good stretch five, and so there'll be a lot of open paint in this series. But I think it'll be an up and down and fast paced series, and I think the Lakers win that. And also, somebody has to guard Luka, and if it's Jimmy, then that means somebody's not guarding LeBron. That sucks for them.
I was gonna ask, like, who does defend LeBron? Because I think you have to put Jimmy on Luka.
I think Steph can guard him.
Yeah, okay.
They'll put Draymond
I had to say something
on LeBron, but then Austin Reeves gets to run wild, and he's good enough to be the difference maker in the series.
All right. Well, there we have. We all got Lakers, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All got Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. First, the Eastern Conference Finals. Cavs versus Celtics. I'm going very chalk with this lineup here, but these two have really, it seems like ever since we realized the Cavs are a legitimate team, they've kind of been on that collision course as we've seen in past years, and I think that continues this year, and I think it could really go either way. And in that case, I'm going to bet on the team that's been to the conference finals, that's been to the finals. I'm going to bet with the Boston Celtics to win in a close 6, maybe 7, but I'll go with 6-game series. Boston winning at home and going on to the finals.
I'm going to go ahead and just spoil my finals matchup. Last time I checked, the biggest and best rivalry and the most watched championship matchup is usually Celtics and Lakers. So I'm going to take the Celtics to beat the Pacers in the finals and not put that in the full universe of the Pacers beating the Celtics. But I do think the Celtics find a way to get to the finals, and we will get that historic matchup of Luka and LeBron staring down at the Celtics.
Okay, so I just need the Pacers to not play the Bucks and not play the Cavs and somehow play the Celtics. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
So for my Eastern Conference Finals, I do have the Celtics and the Cavs as well. I do think the Celtics win here because the Cavs, their biggest calling card is their guards, and they'll have Derek White and Drew Holiday to defend them. So I think they're pretty set up to defend this Cleveland team. And I think their bigs will kind of cancel each other out. And then the Cavs have to guard Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. That's not going to go well for them, I don't think. I still think it'll be competitive just because the Cavs' offensive firepower. So I got the Celtics in 6.
All right. And then in the West, just as Josh said, I personally, I think all NBA, like what they want side, I think the Thunder are the better team. I'm sorry. I think the Thunder are the team that should win this